Thank you, Lottie. And as we know, Wes and that shirt, it looks like the man's ready to go to Vegas very soon. He's gambling on the series.
Yes.
You know, he's ready to go, and so are we, because this is going to be a series that is so instrumental, obviously, in who gets to the grand final, but there's so much here. There's a revenge story. Obviously, we saw Quadrant losing 3-0 to NaVi in quite some fashion a little bit earlier on, but also how are NaVi going to bounce back from a devastating Game 5 loss to Ascend, being so close to being in that grand final?
I mean, absolutely. NaVi so close, like you say, from being in the grand finals already. How do they bounce back? It's been such a tournament for them, and it's been a year-changing tournament for them. It's changed the entire trajectory of their season. However, on the other side of the stage, Quadrant knows with the year so far, they are expected to be in the finals with Ascend. NaVi with a chance to change the story in Europe.
Take ourselves just out of this for a second as well. Think about what's going through the minds of these players. Quadrant just come off the back of a couple of wins, confidence restored. NaVi on the other side just come off the back of their first loss in this tournament, and a loss that went to a Game 5. The mental reset that's needed for NaVi is absolutely huge right now. Quadrant will want to get into this series and avenge what happened to show that that was a one-off, and they want to be in that final.
Absolutely right. One of the reasons the Quadrant needs a huge Game 1 is, as you heard in the desk, the first 3 maps are the same exact maps that they lost to NaVi on in a 3-0 sweep. They needed to come out here and prove immediately that this is a different series for them.
Well, the game types are different, but as you say, the maps are the same. Good memories for NaVi. Hopefully Quadrant are going to create some more. Let's see what happens in this series. We're starting off here, as we said, on Streets once again. The game type is looking a little bit different. We've got an oddball to play with.
We are now into the final rounds. Welcome to the final half of Championship Sunday. This is your elimination bracket final. The winner will advance to our grand finals, and the loser will go home with third.
Well, what a start this is already for Quadrant. They got the ball in hand, and 3 players from NaVi are having a few seconds to think about that opening strategy. 3 dead off the rip, and the ball already being taken towards that pink street, and SLG looking to cause some mischief.
You heard them on the desk there. SLG, a man who needs to step up. He's been quieter than usual this weekend, and this is his chance to change that.
Shad, another player. Played very well this tournament until the series with NaVi, where it seemed like they were able to catch him off guard a few times. A couple of 1v1 scenarios being lost that previously maybe we wouldn't have seen him lost, and a lot of pressure on this man as well. NURIX, quite rightly on the desk, they said he had a slow one. Not the best of series against NaVi earlier. He'll like to put that right.
Let's not also forget about the zMightys story. zMightys has had an unbelievable weekend here with this debut with NaVi on land. Double kill here for Kimbo, one of your players to watch for this series as well. But zMightys ended that last series in the winners finals with quite a negative Slayer and a game type that they got blown out on. He had found success and late game victories here so far. That was his big test. How does he mentally bounce back as the young gun?
Well, a little bit of a stale game ever since those early points. NaVi starting to pick up some kills, though, just to give them a little opportunity to close that gap.
Wait.
Kimbo, what the? Okay, the kill got killed, and the player fell, and as he should have probably 2 or 3 seconds beforehand. A little bit messy there, but what it does mean is the first time on the board here for NaVi. If they can get a solid setup here and they can hold off some of the pressure that is coming in from Quadrant, I think that's just going to settle those nerves again. Somehow Kimbo finds himself on a killing spree.
Killing spree from Kimbo, and he does it from a courtyard during a C stairs hold, which opens up a room for the rotate. But you're seeing how these top teams in Europe, they're not afraid to play all the way out at Cafe and A court.
Such a smart play as well. Look at where the respawners are coming in here for NaVi as well. They were all PD. The Rockets are coming up. zMightys maybe just a little bit of an overextension here. Kimbo's going to have some work to do on the flank. He manages to pick up one. SLG will be one shot, and that'll be the Rockets going into the hand now of NaVi.
It's a big double kill there from Kimbo. As we said, one of the players to watch in this series. He wins that 1v1 to also secure the Rockets.
Big damage done onto the 2 respawners as well. I want to see NaVi take advantage of this, but 2 Foxy will fall to SLG. So Kimbo just baited out a couple of players, but NURIX still alive, and NURIX making a play to not only slow down the push, but also turn the Rockets over to TchiK.
Oh, gets a free pair of Rockets, but Jimbo somehow, and jumps off of heaven and gets a little bit of help from the Halo gods to stay alive.
Yeah, very, very true. The gods certainly shining for now. As 2 Foxy comes in on the flank to take down SLG. 29-9 is the score at the moment, and even though kills are being picked up here by two Foxy and the NaVi lineup, we need to see some ball time off the back of it. It looks like that's happening now.
TchiK with a great grenade there. He placed it perfectly at the bottom of Neon so that it was essentially unavoidable for 2 Foxy. They will find themselves 2 dead. However, zMightys with a Bulldog here on B stairs is going to mean even more time for NaVi, despite the man disadvantage and nice shots from Jimbo, the guardian of the C stairs as well. That'll force a rotate.
Jimbo's been playing really well today, shooting really straight and making himself a difficult kill a lot of prime times here for NaVi. Rotate comes in, SLG does spawn out though, so this is now going to be an opportunity for NaVi to collapse onto SLG, to take down TchiK. They have the numbers advantage, but it looks like at the moment TchiK's getting away. Jimbo is going to somehow snap on and make sure that that becomes a 1v1 at the back of the tower instead of a 2v1 here for Zmitys.
Looks like TchiK maybe looked away for just a split second, thought he would have gotten the kill with the final burst. We've all been there, we've all done that. Look at the scoreboard here. We are tied up at 29.
Oh, and Zmitys with the double. And he's back in the game. The head is in the game. The shots are looking crispy. And NaVi now go into a lead. It's a slender lead, but they look like they're finding that chemistry that was missing at the end of that last
It's a good start for Zmitys here, also a good start for Kimbo. I think these boys needed this, especially Zmitys after that game 5. Coming back here, that's going to be a big confidence boost for them. TwoFoxy makes the second time with the rockets count. One more rocket left in the chamber.
Zmitys has that ball as well, so more time on the board here for the NaVi lineup. One rocket still to play with, but Jimbo shatters dreams with that spike grenade. Moves in for the double kill as well. NURIX. Oh, Jimmy,
wow.
Jimmy, the perfect 3.
I'll tell you what, if Jim keeps that up, NaVi's going to be looking very good in this series.
But look how close this score is. We've seen a lot of big plays. We've seen double kills. We've seen a triple kill from Jimbo. But the score is still just 5 points between the two.
And not a ton of points on the board total if we look at the total time elapsed so far. Still no team crossing the 40-point mark, but now that's actually going to happen for NaVi. They find themselves 2 dead, so Zmitys needs to be careful how he plays this.
Has to just stay alive as long as he can here. Deal damage and let your spawners get across the map. SLG takes a little bit of damage, and Shad makes sure that he cannot have an impact as he would have wanted. Now Shad is going to actually fall because Jimbo's flying down the middle of the map now, cleaning up the damage that's being done. NURIX versus TwoFoxy. NURIX will win that one, but Kimbo has the ball in hand, but NURIX is still alive here.
My God, Kimbo versus NURIX there. It's an incredible win. We knew as you saw that was going to come down to that 1v1. That will now be a 20-point lead for NaVi with 67 seconds left.
Kimbo also turns his attention towards the B stairs to clean up that kill. NURIX again tries to challenge Kimbo, but there's only one player who seems to be winning that fight every single time at the moment. NURIX is still alive, but Kimbo puts him on his back. Spawn is now coming in at the back of the tram. The ball is down with 50 seconds left on the clock. NaVi can slay out.
That's exactly what I was going to say here. They're just going to look to get these kills. They're trapping the C spawns. They do have to be careful about the split spawns that are about to come in, though.
They have to make sure that they're on their P's and Q's here. Do not let that ball get out of hand. Do not let an opportunity slip through the fingers, and don't look back on this game thinking we made a mistake. Excuse me. SLG's making mistakes though, because Kimbo and TwoFoxy working together beautifully. Jimbo with the rockets, 2 dead here for Quadrant, and now they just have to hold on for a few moments more.
This should seal the deal. 3 dead with a rocket grab with a perfect rotation, but NURIX spawns in the back, but they immediately eliminate him. Now that really should be salt in the wound for this round.
Salt in the wound is exactly the phrase I was going to use as well, because it's one thing to know that you're coming off the back of a good series, you're feeling strong, Quadrant I'm talking about here, and then you just spend the last few moments getting pounded into the ground. But as I said, you got to be careful. You can't afford to make mistakes, because on the same hand, you could say a turnaround could happen here if they're not perfect. Kimbo gets one, TchiK gets another, and the game is getting close here. NaVi need to get the ball out of the hands of Quadrant.
Jim was the last guy alive. TwoFoxy's already up C stairs as well. They need to keep holding. This could be it.
NURIX is flying. NURIX is running. It's tied up here. 1 point advantage. TwoFoxy gets the ball back in his hand. He's trying to stay alive. They go up by 1 second, and by 1 point. One single solitary point. NaVi win the first round.
Oh my God, an unbelievable back and forth. What was about to be a heartbreaking defeat for NaVi in the first round, and a huge come from behind victory for Quadrant ends in a NaVi win off of perfect timing. At front C, they win by a single point, and they will take the first round of Oddball on Streets.
I want to see some more of that. I enjoyed that. What an ending to the first round here, and if that's anything like what we're going to have in store for the series, do not adjust wherever you are watching the European finals right now. Jimbo flies in, takes down one player who had those rockets, and now TchiK is going to collapse alongside his teammate to take down TwoFoxy. 2 dead, 3 dead here for NaVi, as the ball is now back in the hands of the French squad.
Quadrant not going to be happy about that. They thought they played every single piece of that right towards the end of that game, and seconds away from stealing the victory, but somehow, some way, NaVi is able to grab that ball and hide behind the very slim front pillars of C and take the round. Quadrant now with 24 points on the board early in round 2.
Just taking a look across the stats in the game at the moment, zMightys is 12 and 12, so solid performance from him, but the standout players have been Kimbo and Jimbo. Both of them combined have 43 kills. TwoFoxy a little bit slow as he picks up his 8th. He was slow in the last couple of games of the series as well. Maybe just need to see something more in the kills column coming from TwoFoxy.
Certainly, yeah. 14 assists for TwoFoxy, so he's certainly dealing a good amount of damage in this one. He will finally be taken down, but as you say, the brothers Jimbo and Kimbo leading the kill category, not just on the team, but also in the game.
10-point lead here for Quadrant. As Jimbo will even up the numbers on the map. SLG's trying to stay alive. He managed to just to escape to the safety of the driveway for a second, but unfortunately, he gets run over by Jimbo. Now a little bit of Shad POV. Looking across these stats at the moment, 16 and 16. Another player we highlighted as maybe just looking a little bit off the boil last time these two teams went up against each other. If he improves as well, then this will be a much tighter series.
One thing you won't see reflected in the stats is how long zMightys stayed alive back tram and front seat during the end of that game. He could have been easily cleaned up. It would have been a lot more control for Quadrant. But the little things like that really make a difference. No, SLG gets a betrayal on NURIX, and we got it from the Shad POV on C-Balk. It's like watching a disaster unfold. They have perfect control of Rocket's bottom middle. SLG kills himself and betrays NURIX.
It's that horrible I shouldn't be watching this. Yet I am watching the entire video. One of those kind of feelings.
Can't look away.
Well, Shad still has a rocket to play with. zMightys kind of chunks most of the damage, and now will get challenged and taken down himself. NaVi lose 3 players, and Jimbo, the last player alive. Ball is down as well. More time here for Quadrant. This is looking a little bit more organized here from Quadrant. NaVi maybe just feeling a hangover of how that last round ended. It was far closer than it needed to be.
Makes you wonder just how much control Quadrant had if they had the ability to rocket themselves and get a betrayal, and then they still get 4 dead after that.
Yeah, that's a good point. We'll have to presume there were some mistakes on the side of NaVi for that to happen. At the moment, SLG is putting pressure onto 2 players. Gets the trade from 1. Shad trying to just locate where that oddball is, and it's going to be NURIX, actually, who moves in to grab it. So 46-14, the score in this game, and NaVi really struggling to get going in this second round.
Jimbo here, taking advantage of that Sentinel beam, and will find themselves getting the first 2 kills. The ball will be played. Jim will try to grab that, but they're going to need to make sure they get the kills in the back of A as well.
Yeah, this is the important thing. You're completely and utterly right. Need to collapse on these last 2 players, because otherwise they're just going to get shot in the back. Kimbo deals with NURIX, but SLG now, with that little bit of a delay, has a chance to re-engage with these NaVi players. That means they can't pick up the oddball because they don't have the numbers to face.
This whole time, no ball time. They prioritized getting the ball back towards A, but they didn't get the kills fast enough, so the score will still be 56-17. You have to think for the side of Quadrant, yes, the kills that you're seeing there are aggregate score. Nice job from zMightys and A-Core to pick up that one, but look at the slays category. It feels criminal that Quadrant is leading in this second round.
It certainly does, but I think they picked up the slays here in the second round. Rockets are coming up. Jimbo will fall. He was the player from NaVi tasked with going for that power weapon. Kimbo's trying to do what he can to deal with NURIX, but the Rockets are still down and still not in the hands of anyone by the looks of things at the moment. Quadrant lose 2 though. Surely that opens the door for the Rockets to be found. It's actually Shad who finds them, and he finds 3 players from NaVi to leave the opportunity for more ball time here for Quadrant.
Last player was right around the L. They're going to be able to clean that one up as well. TwoFoxy's going to be the last one doing the laundry, and they'll continue scoring. They'll cross the 60-point mark now.
No time to be doing that right now. It's a elimination bracket final. You want to get into the grand final. The sheets can stay wrinkled, TwoFoxy, as TchiK now finds himself maybe trying to add a few wrinkles to the brows of these NaVi players, trying to stress him out a little bit as he gets behind 1 and takes him down.
SLG with a triple ping there, certainly prioritizing the kills over at C, and for good reason. It's 3 dead for NaVi. It's a very different round number 2 for Quadrant.
It really is, and TwoFoxy struggling right now, really is struggling. He's 8 and 23. That is a stat line which your teammates are looking at, just saying, I need a little bit more from you. And TchiK is just sitting on the L at the moment, just slowing everything down. TwoFoxy is on the flank, but look at the collapse now coming in from the rest of the players. I think that TwoFoxy might have been taken down. Yes, he was. In fact, everybody on NaVi has been taken down, and that will be the round going to Quadrant. They tie this up at 1-1.
And what other way could we ask for this grand finals, the elimination finals here to begin? 1-1 between these 2 sides. To be honest, it could be a grand final with the amount of talent here. These 2 teams certainly favored to win, which makes it a fantastic elimination final. We have no idea which team might take the series, and I think game 1 has already been an indication of that.
Jimbo with the commando. He's commanding his presence up on this balcony. That'll be 3 dead off the rip here for Quadrant. So a little bit of a change of fortunes as Jim flies out with all the confidence in the world to clean up the final kill. NaVi get control of the rocket, and they also get control of the oddball.
Little splash there for Jimbo as well on the top of C stairs. I'm going to make sure to do as much damage as he can. This will be time for NaVi in the back of A. They need to bounce back. It was a fantastic first round for them, but they got manhandled in the second one.
I mean, I don't know how Mighty stayed alive in this situation. There are 2 players trying to kill him. He slid down the stairs. He comes back and he says, Shad, I'll have a piece of you as well. Does some damage. And all while this is happening and this fight is being elongated, NaVi are continuing to build this lead. Shad wins the 1v1 though, so Mighty's little run there will be ended.
Good presence here then. Kills and assists coming in here from TchiK. Let's see if Quadrant as a squad can bounce back and get the mini reverse sweep here in game number 1. They're putting time on the board. Let's go to an Astro listen-in with Quadrant.
Do it. Oui, dans l'arcade, il va fond arcade. Il y en a un trash, peut-être à mid. À droite, ça arrive à droite, sur ça. Let's go, Shad! Nice, bien joué ça. C'est bien, one shot, allez, one shot. Pique encore. Aidez-moi, pique. J'ai le cross, Dans le, pas ma ball. J'ai le L, je suis jump first. Shayna, 2 balides. Il push banide, dans le L, Kimbo, one shot dans le L. Encore dans le L. 25. Jump fleur, j'ai edge. One shot en flowers et un court, devant le R maintenant. J'ai spout derrière eux, 1000 km. One shot ping, absolument. Et weak en soda. 2 sodas, ils vont sur la boule maintenant. Et il y a un mec back à Jimbo, on va voir. Jimbo one shot, je vais perdre du temps. C'est bien. Prenez pour les armes à gauche en vrai.
Well, if you wanted to know how much the Quadrant wants it, listen to the intensity in that, completely different from what we heard earlier on.
It really is. Oftentimes when you hear this Quadrant squad, cool, calm, collected, they know exactly what they need to be doing, but there is intensity in the comms on the side of Quadrant, and they'll actually lose the lead here. They were 3 dead right towards the end of that listening, and 3 dead again.
2 Foxy with the ball in his hand. Mighty will pick it off his body after he manages to get the trade and immediately leaves it to know that the pressure is coming in already from Quadrant. The timing not there for that ball time, so assault rifle, that's going to do some damage. Shad is trying to sneak up onto the top tower, but these shots from Kimbo are pretty good. However, Shad's was equally as good as 2 Foxy now moves in to clean things up.
4 dead for Quadrant here, and certainly an opportunity now for NaVi to extend this, and they want to end this as quickly as possible. They know what happened in that round number 2. They do not want it to repeat itself, 42-19.
Well, it's going to be the tires on lockdown here. As the assault rifle was shot through shields. However, you also saw that the Sentinel beam was in place. Shad manages to even up the numbers, and he gets caught off guard there. A horrible tap on the shoulder. Coming in for Kimbo, not sure if the comms broke down or whatever it was, but NaVi find themselves 4 dead.
Straight out of a horror game, you think you're safe there in the middle of the map, and all of a sudden you're getting microwaved in the back by NURIX, who then also grabs the objective and will continue scoring. Just like that, they're within 20 points.
It really is a closely fought game, this game number 1. 2 players going to push onto the tires. Jimbo's going to be there as well. He gets 2. Jimbo also picks up a 3rd, I think, in that fight. He's going to get the drop shield down. He's going to pick the ball up. So down, up, left, right. Jimbo shooting everything. He's trying to drag NaVi through this first game.
Absolutely, rocking the GTA cheat codes there. He's about to drop a tank, and he's dropping almost a 40 bomb on him as well. He's 39 and 26 right now. It's also a double kill on the other side, though, for NURIX here on the B push.
NURIX looking to clear the way, and he's done a great job to win both those fights. The ball going to be rotated in towards PD where Kimbo was. 1 player still alive, and it's going to be Jimbo eliminated. NaVi now all coming off of respawn. The rockets are popping up as well, and this is such a tight game. The rocket launcher could be the game. Lock this down, it's 2 kills for your team.
NURIX doesn't grab it, he pushes past it. What a brilliant play here to make sure he gets the kill on garbage before pushing in. Now stays alive, gets 1, gets 2, gets 3. It's a late game triple kill for NURIX.
I said the rockets were the game changer. At this point in the game, you lock them down, you get the kills, you win the game. Now they will go into a lead. A massive, massive play coming in from Quadrant in those final moments.
What a swing. We talked about the kills that were coming in for Jimbo and Kimbo, but now TchiK, as well as Shad, they're also in the 30 club.
Kimbo gets taken down as well, and NaVi are 3 dead. There's 2 minutes and 50 on the clock. But at the moment, Quadrant are closing in on a map 1 victory. They are about 15 points away. It's the last throw of the dice here for NaVi, and 2 Foxy will fall first.
This really is the last push. They need to make it count, and they somehow, from a man disadvantage, need to get the kills. It looks like it's going to be too late.
TchiK decides Oddball second, kills first. He picks the ball up now as he's got that time. Last push here for NaVi, but it's not going to be enough. It's going to be game one turning on its head as Quadrant will go up by 1-0.
French crowd here likes what they hear. They like what they see. And it's a game one win for the French contingent. Quadrant will take Streets ball, and like we said, they needed the first game. This is the same maps, the same game 2 Slayer in this series as the 3-0 NaVi sweep that happened just earlier today. Smiles on the faces of SLG and Quadrant as they take the first game in the series.
And a much different tone to the Quadrant lineup as well. The listening was perfectly timed. Every single player is fired up. They want this right now. They want to prove to NaVi the 3-0 was not a true representation of what we bring to the table. The biggest example of that, they go down by 1 round. NaVi looked like they were comfortable, and then they bounce back, and they show what they're made of.
Slow and steady wins the race in game number 1. NaVi out to a hot first round victory. Big kills on the board as well, and slowly but surely, Quadrant climbs back into the second round. They do the same thing in the third round as well, with some big wins on the board. Look at Shad, 37 and 28 with 20 assists. Leads in every category there, and quite a statement.
Yeah, and that was one player I was looking at that had a shaky series against NaVi earlier today. Not right now. He's breaking 10k damage, and he was winning so many pivotal engagements that just allowed someone to move in and grab that oddball for the team. So a huge shout out to Shad. You can see the stats on your screen, they speak for themselves.
That triple kill, huge, right? Also, talking about what we saw from their screen, pushing past the Rockets, getting the kills that are over on the dumpsters, and then to grab them off of the rack, take down 2 players bottom middle. A triple kill that late in the game just paved the way for them to close it out.
It really, really did. Such a pivotal moment of the game. You can target them a lot of the time, and that certainly was one of them. I mean, the first round, NaVi almost let it slip through their fingers. They were up by about 30 points for quite some time, decided to try and play the clock, and it almost come back to bite them in the ass.
In the end, and then you thought Quadrant was going to take that, but somehow so wise. Jimbo on the front seat pillars got all the time he needed. But
this, by the way, this was disgusting.
And look at that, that's a triple kill, and just amazing stuff here from NaVi. They look so strong in the beginning.
Yeah, they certainly did. That was a triple kill from Shad as well that was influential in this third round, and there was moments in this game, and NaVi had the lead, remember, for the majority of this third round, but this is the play, and it's NURIX, the man we were highlighting that did not play well earlier on. He's playing pretty damn good right now.
I mean, a triple kill, like we said, that late in the game. The boys on Quadrant knew what they needed to do. They come from behind after losing that first round, and they take the game. Oddball on Streets will go their way. Next up, we head to Slayer Catalyst. Let's not forget, this is the exact map and game type they played NaVi on earlier today and lost.
They did indeed lose, but it was a close game, and there was a few comebacks in there from Quadrant, and now the adrenaline will be flowing, and NaVi will be thinking we have to win this game, otherwise we got to win 3 back-to-back against a Quadrant team who are going to be fired up. Plus, just remember, Quadrant will think about this series and go, you know what? You 3-0'd us earlier. That's absolutely fine. No problem whatsoever, but if we beat you right now when it matters, that's all we really care about.
Look at Mighty's there, smiles on his face. You see him even nodding there, maybe psyching himself up a bit. That's what you need to see on NaVi. They need to keep their spirits high. They won this game. To give you an exact score line, what we saw earlier today, NaVi beat Quadrant 50-40 in this game type. Quadrant keeping it close, however, a 10-kill deficit or margin there certainly going the way of NaVi. They know that they just need to repeat here, and they'll tie the series 1-1.
Well, let's choose a couple of players to keep the eyes on. TwoFoxy's got to be one. A very slow game number 1 and a slow end to the series as well. Against Ascend a little bit earlier. He's going to be a man who maybe can just lead the troops forward. The trust needs to be there for NaVi if they want to get back into this. And TwoFoxy, not the greatest of starts. He does fly for that overshield. Now it's going to be up to Kimbo to try and keep the Quadrant swarm off of it.
Kimbo did not have the info. Info is king there. He had to actually check the overshield when no one was down there yet. So those first few kills will go. SLG does not get the zoom on the grapple overshield grab. So he has 3 left. He should be able to snag this. Let's see how he plays this.
Been told a lot of the time it's not about the size, it's about how you use it, and unfortunately at the moment with the grapple that doesn't seem to be true. You need to make sure that you've got the length to get that power up into your hands, and it's going to be SLG who has the power up as well as the skewer. A great start here for Quadrant is 6-2 the scoreline.
Great start indeed, and this is exactly how they wanted to play this. We talked about how SLG just comes through with the skewer no scope, and that will now bring them to 7-2, and he still has half an overshield left.
I mean, this man just ran through you like a cheat. TwoFoxy is having a bit of a rough time right now. Every single player he runs into has got a weapon, an overshield, whatever it might be, and SLG is trying to do damage. Kimbo gets one, but SLG will trade out with zMightys.
Is SLG playing that perfectly or what? In the end, he'll finally be taken down, but adding a lot of kills on the board. SLG already 2-1 here.
TwoFoxy somehow stayed alive through all of that. That's impressive. The amount of pressure that was being... Oh my goodness me, NURIX! Unfortunately, on the receiving end of the power weapon this time after dishing it out at the end of the last.
I don't know how, but I swear TwoFoxy like generated a jackpot sound out of that skewer too.
Yeah.
As that kill came in, maybe metal on metal there with that skewer blast going into the armor. 12-7 now in favor of Quadrant.
Very, very close. zMightys picks up one, tries to survive, but gonna be hunted down here by TchiK. A little bit of a messy game so far. Everyone kind of running at each other. Trying to maybe just step up the aggression. Quadrant's reasoning, maybe we want to put the pressure back onto NaVi. We want to really put them under the pump. NaVi probably thinking, we played that first game a little bit too slowly. Let's speed this thing up as the overshield battle will go down. SLG will win the battle, but the overshield falls.
zMightys takes his eyes off it for just a second. This should be a Jimbo grab. Let's see, he's going to go away. Does not pop. He's going to late pop this overshield very comfortably, and now they're just down by 2. Finally, the overshield will be popped right before the engagement.
I always get nervous though with those late pops. We've seen it go so wrong for so many players, but Jimbo is making it work for him at the moment. 2 kills, rips the shields off of SLG, and picks up a 3rd as well. Jimbo again, he has been the superstar for NaVi during this tournament, and he wants to win this game.
What a huge grab, what huge timing there on the overshield pop. Keeps the team within 1, not only getting the triple, but as you said, also stripping SLG, essentially a one-man show on that play. That will bring the game within 1.
Within 1, but again, huge credit, to how Quadrant are playing here. They're keeping that lead, even though they lost that overshield. It's a 1-kill game at the moment. NURIX trying to survive for now, will be taken down, and here comes Jimbo again on the flank, but TwoFoxy does the job that is required to keep that slender, paper-thin lead in the hands of NaVi.
Just by 1, as you say. Not comfortable enough. They're going to need to keep this up. Look at the split, though, right now. You see Jimbo actually all the way on the other side of the map. Needs to be very careful with how he plays this and the angles that he takes and the exact timing as well.
Damage is huge as well. If Jimbo knows that damage has been done, then maybe there's an opportunity for him to collapse and be that flanker at the moment. Unfortunately, Kimbo's going to be caught off guard. TwoFoxy has the skewer. We've already seen him hit one beautiful shot with this weapon. But now you're seeing a collapse starting to come in from Quadrant. They've managed to take the lead just by 1, but TwoFoxy again drives a hole through the heart of SLG.
Oh! Picks up another one as well. That will bring the game 21-21. And you thought for a second, because it was a 2v2 split for boy, that's hate to see it there. Kimbo will get taken down in the end. Overshield again in 2 seconds. The 3rd one does not hit. Shad's going for that OV grab.
Shad might be able to pop it as well. No! He gets taken down, but even with TwoFoxy doing some magical stuff with the skewer in his hands, it's still just that 1-kill difference between the teams.
Jimbo actually grappled in behind to help Shad. It's a great grapple. Got to find out where that overshield is. Might have been burned bottom middle.
Might have been burned. TwoFoxy is the POV that we're watching right now as well, and he's trying to see if he can sneak out a few of these plays. He knows NURIX is weak, and he manages to get that kill. Beatdown would be huge. He repulses TchiK away. Kimbo's going to be taken down by the frag grenades being frantically thrown his way. TchiK will fall as TwoFoxy does step up here for NaVi. It's a killing spree for him, but it's still a 1, make it 2-kill game.
Absolutely, yeah. TwoFoxy on your screen, of course, his POV is what we're watching from top middle, 28-26. And these two teams just keeping neck and neck with one another, and that looks like in the end that final overshield, excuse me, not final, but the last one that we saw will end up being burned and not a factor in these past few battles.
Kimbo just makes the lead a bit more comfortable here. Another kill for Kimbo as well. Means that NaVi now have a 4-kill advantage. Make that 3 as TchiK and SLG will fall onto 2 players from NaVi. TwoFoxy still running riot though, but you can see he'll fall as well, and that will be a clean team wipe if Shad can get the job done. It will be, and now you're seeing the lead back to just 1.
Wow, this is exactly what we were hoping for in the elimination final. You want your Game 2 Slayers to be this close. Neither of the 2 teams do. Underneath the map for Shad, needs to connect 1 more after this at least. That'll loop him back up, but he's got to figure out how he wants to combat at gold.
Very nervy moments there, very nervy moments, but while Shad was traversing and doing his best impression of the Cirque du Soleil, his teammates were killing everything in sight. It's 33-31 now as NaVi find themselves behind.
Interesting trades there. NaVi find themselves, as you say, 2 dead and 2 behind. This next power-up is going to be huge. We'll go back over to NaVi to get into a listen-in with their side here as they try to tie the series.
2 shot, one guy's maybe 2 shot. Oh yes, sorry, he's 1 shot. He's bottom ID 1 shot. He's running.
I don't know where he's running.
Okay, okay.
Skewer. He's on the stairs. He's on the
ramp,
stairs.
across map. 2 on the breeze, across map. Oh my god.
2 in blue, boys.
2 on the breeze.
Yeah, going for it now, going for it now.
Coming behind you as well.
We'll go down to your left, Pez. Below you, Pez.
I'm melting him.
2 on me. OS got away, I think.
There's 2 on your side. Let's revamp. Play Robbie's side.
OS is gone on bottom Mohawk.
There's one.
Stop weak. Oh, back up, Pez.
I'm gonna push my side, I think. I'm good though.
Where's my flank?
Re-ramping. I'm gonna
One on blue,
Yeah,
red bruise.
One guy on me, I think, was
The
sword.
breeze, you see me, you see me.
You just slow it down, yo. Slow it down.
Where's was here, bro?
We got the opposite breeze. Top mid. Shad. That side.
Yeah, pick. We can start fighting.
Push that base now, check.
Just hide.
Front base, one in the start, it's such a check. I'm gone, Chip, I'm gone.
Okay, check switch, check switch. Get into that base if you can, boys. Yo, on the breeze, on the breeze.
Okay,
Shred me, man. I'm one. You're breeze, Liam, you're
Push
breeze.
us out top here,
Down
man.
low, down low.
Yeah, he's weak. He's my kill. Yeah, another one. 2 shot, shot, bottom blue tunnel.
Very interesting listening there. It seems like they're trying to stay calm, but when you're looking at the gameplay, everyone's getting caught off guard.
Yeah.
It's 1 by 1 they're falling. There's not a lot of teamwork here coming in from NaVi, and Quadrant are taking advantage of that. They're up by 7, make it 8 as the sword makes mincemeat of 2 Foxy.
A little bit of apprehension on both sides, but certainly on the side of NaVi as they were no match for that overshield, and also that sword push here. Also a skewer in the hands of NURIX, but look at the 2 kills that go the way of NaVi.
In that gap once more. NURIX made a big play with the power weapon towards the end of the last game. Isn't going to happen this time. Kimbo with a sword will bring this even closer. All the weapons are on the map and in the hands of players who can make a difference here. And if you've got one of those weapons, you're feeling the pressure right now.
Overshield as well, going to be a big factor here coming up in 15 seconds. This is down to the wire. Game within 6.
Look at the kill feed though. SLG and TchiK. Kimbo will trade out. It's 2 for 2. It's a 3-kill lead here as Quadrant find themselves 3 dead. NURIX is now last alive. The overshield is going to be coming up as well, and he's under pressure too.
Last player alive. They need to figure out how they're going to get eyes on this overshield. Also trying to keep NURIX alive because he's a one-man show on
They
the
need
Ivy.
to deal with NURIX. They
haven't
need to
killed him.
deal with him. This is what happens when you leave one player alive and you do not collapse. He can come back, he can cause problems, finally he falls, and NaVi are now within 1 as Quadrant find themselves 3 dead again.
3 dead. That should be a NaVi overshield as well that you just saw popped. It's a 1-kill game.
ZMightys!
And the no-scope from Mighties as well. We're tied up at 44.
44-44. SLG though in the feed will give them back that 1-kill advantage. ZMightys moving in. He's trying to collapse, but he can't find anyone. And even though he's on the flank, 2 of his teammates have fallen.
Able to get 1 back, but needs to stay alive here desperately. The repulsor doesn't work. He gets pinched. And just like that, it's 48-45. Quadrant 2 kills away from going up 2-0 in the series.
TchiK ice cold in these kind of situations. 2 players holding things down. Shad will fall though. That's an opening for NaVi, but they cannot make a mistake. They cannot trade. That's why you're not seeing the flood here, because they know it's only a couple of nades, a beatdown, and Quadrant will lose this game. This is on a knife edge.
This is wild. This is how this game can slow down on Catalyst. 48-46. Everything to play for here. You're seeing just how careful these 2 teams are being.
He's looking to maybe think about making a play. Kimbo manages to pick off NURIX. He's got angles and information as well. Kimbo's weak. Jimbo will pick up the kill. SLG will fall as well. It's 1 kill to go here for NaVi. 2 Foxy gets taken down. 49-49. The flood comes in, and NaVi somehow, some way, win the 50-49.
And a few NaVi chants in the room as well. My God, does NaVi ever love Slayers down to the wire. These boys thrive on it. They will steal the 50-49 win. They will tie the series 1-1. And what looked an awful lot like a Quadrant 2-0 series lead is silenced, despite the fact that we saw them up by 2 so late in the game. All they needed was 2 kills, but they find themselves falling all 4 dead before then.
I mean, this event, this Sunday, has been one of the most fun days of Halo I can remember in some time. How close have these games been? How high a level have all of these teams risen their game to? And there's just twists and turns, as it seems like Wonderboy is going to start. I don't think you're allowed to do that, Harry. As zMightys is going to just take that opportunity to have a break. And why wouldn't you? 50-49 takes a lot out of you, but it's that man to Foxy. Almost anonymous in game number 1, but certainly at the forefront here in game 2.
You said he needed to step up in a big way in game number 2. That's exactly what he did. The biggest numbers in the game, 16, 10, and 8.
Biggest numbers, but also some of those skewer shots. They were the kills that kept NaVi close. If he doesn't hit those crazy shots, then Quadrant run away with it. But he kept just managing to just about clip a wing, and then zMightys at the end as well with a few really important shots. The youngster stepping up in the clutch moments. NaVi starting to hold the kind of form that we saw from them a little bit earlier in the series, but that was far too close for comfort for both teams.
It certainly was. TwoFoxy goes +6 in a game that they win by 1. As we take a look at some of the highlights here, you won't forget this one. It's SLG just on a tear with the skewer and the overshield, but TwoFoxy also laying down some damage from across the map as well.
That's officially known as the HGV, the heavy goods vehicle that came in from SLG there. When you got overshield and you got skewer and you're just sliding at someone, you are the HGV, but so many close overshield burns as well that we saw in that game, just players not being able to quite pop it too foxy. These are the shots that matter. If you look at the score in all those situations, it was off the back of a couple of kills that went the way of Quadrant. If he doesn't hit them, then Quadrant might run away with things.
How close was this game all the way? Look at this, 48-48. It's a gold side overload from the side of NaVi, and look at the confidence there. Barely any reaction from NaVi. Jim and company fly in there to get the 50th kill. They had all the confidence in the world. They will tie up the series 1-1.
1-1 then, 2-1 the first map, 50-49 the second map. Whew. I'll tell you what, if that's a pattern that's going to evolve through this series, we are going to be here for quite some time. Recharge King of the Hill is the next map though, and this one, you got to favor Quadrant. I feel like Quadrant have a really good understanding of Recharge, and after NaVi took an absolute slapping on Recharge Stronghold a little bit earlier on from Ascend, I'm pretty sure they would have wished it was any other map right now.
Absolutely, zMightys back on the stage here, and the man is locked in and ready to go. And how big is that win for NaVi? You have to think if they go down 2-0, it is a long road back as they have to climb back in the reverse sweep. Instead, they have leveled the score 1-1 and everything to play for here. Teams not just fighting for the bragging rights and the cash, but also a trip back into the grand finals.
Ascend wait in that grand finals as well. They'll be watching this series and hoping it goes on as long as possible. They take every single bit of energy out of them so that their job is a little bit easier. And as if the job wasn't hard enough, of course, if you get to that grand finals, you got to not just beat them once, you have to beat them twice and reset that bracket. But the fist bumps are going down. A little stretch from Jimbo. Maybe a little bit more of a stressful, or stress-relieving, I should say, stretch than the one we saw earlier on when he was stretching in the middle of the game, knowing the game was done. But King of the Hill Recharge, it's going to be an interesting one for sure.
Last time these two teams played Recharge, let's remember it was NaVi winning Oddball 2-1, but an overall 259-185. So a pretty convincing win for them on Recharge, but as we've seen already, the elimination final is a very different series.
It certainly is. I think the maps and modes, they don't matter at the moment. It's all about who's hot. And both teams seem to be warming up to the occasion right now. Game 3 in this best of 5. The swing game, tied up at 1-1. Kimbo, show me something.
What's terrifying too is with how close this is, as you say, on a knife's edge, all it will take is one player popping off or one player making a huge mistake to cost their team. Already some kills on the board for NaVi.
3 in quick succession, and wonderful shots coming in from Kimbo as well. That was 4 dead. Camouflage, hill control, shock rifle, zMightys is ready to go.
Got the grapple as well, and you heard in his interviews how much he loves having shock and grapple, and he just wants to pop off. He actually looks away, so confident that was going to connect, but finishes it with a grenade. Already halfway done on the first hill for NaVi.
And the problem is, oh my goodness, zMightys is heating up, and boy, did NaVi need this young superstar on this team. He's certainly reminding everyone that he will be a name to remember.
This is exactly what he said he loves doing, flying around the map so fast that he cannot be tracked, taking advantage of the grapple and the shock, and picks up maybe another kill in the back of gold as well. Look at the scoreboard already for NaVi.
I mean, amazing stuff. When zMightys is running around doing this kind of stuff, the game's very, very easy. It's going to be 1-0 in the next few seconds if TwoFoxy can just survive long enough. SLG has no shields inside of that hill. TchiK is desperately trying to get there to support him, but who else but zMightys to win the fight to keep him out of that hill, but TchiK will not die.
My God, great effort by TchiK there from the Mangler pit. That's what you need. Somehow keeps his team in this, and to be honest, as you said, that should have been over. Now Quadrant will need, my God, NURIX just throws that one in there for good measure. SLG also jumping in, but here comes the push from Gold.
And that's the aggression you need to see right from NaVi. They know they've got numbers, so they flood together. Now you're going to see Shad, a really important member of the team to stay alive here. He takes down zMightys, now he's trying to deal with 2 Foxy.
Good nades there, but 2 Foxy up to the task, 2 dead for both sides. And what we thought was going to be an early NaVi hill is still a lot of points on the board for Quadrant.
Still alive, this hill. zMightys, though, with that kill. Look at the spawns coming on the C-plat, though. Kimbo just has to try and survive. If he can, the rest of NaVi can get in position to help him out. SLG will fall. Traded out to a 3v3 on the map here.
Kimbo knows that the kills are more important. He gets spotted out by NURIX in the Mangler pit. That will mean 2 dead for NaVi.
NaVi know it's just a couple of millimeters away from being their hill. And it looks like NaVi are trying to flip the map as well. They're taking control of the seaside. This is a really smart play. If they can get this last bit of hill time with this control of Gold and C-plat, they'll be set up for the second hill as well.
I'm really glad NaVi is thinking about this. Oh boy, Kimbo with a big one here. He should flip it. Doesn't finish it just yet, though. They know they also need to prioritize C. That's why they're playing this a little bit slower. They should be able to get it here.
Multiple players start stacking the hill here. Quadrant are going to fly. They know they have to contest this. Kimbo deals with one. TchiK is still going to be there and have to be handled. But handling TchiK, he's too hot to handle at the moment.
My God, so back and forth. We haven't seen this much time on the last few seconds of a bottom mid-hill this whole weekend.
Shad's trying to control blue as well. Jimbo will fall. And I tell you what, Quadrant, even though this looked like that were going to be nowhere near being able to contest this hill, all of a sudden it's looking like this could be a Quadrant hill.
Oh my God.
NaVi lose 1 player. Quadrant also down to 3 members. And look at that bar at the bottom. It's a desperate dive into the hill now. A 1v1, Jimbo and zMightys jump in. But can they stay alive long enough to get the cap? They do, and Quadrant lose 4.
Oh my God, that was an all-in push there from NaVi, and it was perfectly executed. As you say, they also get 4 dead with map positioning on the long haul side. It's a perfectly timed push from the brothers Kimbo and Jimbo fly off of batteries into the hill. They will secure the first point and also put the first few points on the board, but not before forfeiting 3 dead.
Really, really impressive push, though, to break from Quadrant. Considering they were 4 dead, considering NaVi had all the map control they could have wanted, it was pretty simple for them to break through and get those kills that they needed just to get it back in their control. Now the question is, can NaVi do what they just did to them? Jimbo will take down TchiK, and that will be the shot going back over to the side of NaVi.
It's a good pipes push here. Shad actually on your screen right now, and some good shots from him on C-plat to get the kill on Kimbo as well. And this time it's a much bigger lead in the second hill for Quadrant.
As we saw in that first hill, it doesn't matter how big the lead is. It's about closing things out. NaVi just about managed to do it on that first hill. NURIX will win a big fight onto zMightys as well. And ever since that hot start that zMightys had, he's only added 2 kills to the tally. So zMightys hot at the start, but he's starting to cool off a little bit here.
zMightys 7-7-7. Might be a jackpot in the stats, but looking for more points on the board. This one should be a Quadrant hill. You can just tell that NaVi's already giving this up. They're resetting for the second hill.
Yeah, this is a big, big hill as well, because this is the elevator hill. In my opinion, this is the easiest hill to lock down if your teamwork and your shots are all coming together as you would want as a team. So NaVi smartly decided holding the spawns is more important here. You can have the point as long as we can get us set up here at elevator.
They get the first kill as well, but they will need to keep this area clear. So far, they've lost 2 players. zMightys might be the third to fall.
Yeah, this is a weak hold from NaVi, and having given up the hill, having given up that point, you expect more from them. And now they've got to flood and they've got to break.
Oh, no, no, no. TchiK with a double kill off the remote detonation by shooting the grenades in pipes. It's close quarters in the pipes, and it will cost you. That will be even more time for Quadrant here on the third hill.
And this is where NaVi have been struggling, right? When we saw them on strongholds, it's how do we break setups? How do we get first damage? How do we get first kills? You just have to slow things down for a second, look to damage a player and then make a push off the back of it. But you can just see from the point of view here from TchiK, everyone's desperate in things at the moment for NaVi. Just take a deep breath, because otherwise Quadrant are just going to one wild like NURIX is doing right now. He's having a great game.
Talked about how NURIX needed to have a big series here. Look at his stats in this game. He's 14-7 in a game that they lead by just 1 hill. Also now shock rifle in hand.
Jimbo trying to cross. Jimbo falls in the feed again, and it's going to be TchiK who does that damage. The hill has moved to the underpass. And NURIX, even though he's in a good position to watch those crosses, the only problem is now that he's kind of let those players slip through, there might be a numbers advantage for NaVi here. The player does fly in. That's going to be Jimbo and Kimbo once again combining, and now NURIX, you can see, left on his own on this side of the map. And you can see that NaVi have managed to jump into that hill.
Cost him a lot, though. Look at the time on the board. Already 60% of the way for Quadrant. NURIX is still just running here at danger and caution. Finally, he'll rotate over to C.
Jimbo gets one, but you can see his survivability is very, very slim. The chances of him getting out of that situation very tough. TwoFoxy flies in as well. 2v2 on the map at the moment. NURIX still managing to survive, though, with his shock rifle, which can be a game changer. One shot from this, numbers on your side.
And what a rotated spin from him. He picks up another kill, maybe even does this. Kimbo saves his own life with that repulsor.
It's coming in, though. And SLG flying in to clean up Kimbo.
Oh, man.
But TwoFoxy saves his life with a grenade, which leaves TchiK now on his own. NaVi 4 alive. And in control of this hill. Kimbo with the shock needs to hit something here.
There was 3 dead for Quadrant. As you say, Kimbo needs to make sure he's getting the opening damage. They've already gotten 1 kill. Repulsor saving him again, but he's running out of repulsors, let me tell you.
Yeah, running out of get out of free jail cards at the moment. TchiK is going to pick up that kill. Jimbo does work at the back of blue and jumps back into this hill. Look how close things are now. Pretty much tied up on this underpass hill. NURIX flying in. The repulsor will keep Jimbo alive for just a few seconds. He's got teammates with him to do the damage. Now, can NaVi convert this last part of the hill? Quadrant find themselves 3 dead.
3 dead again. What's SLG up to right now? Probably waiting for teammates because they know they have about 1 push left. SLG actually going to keep the aggression going and doing quite well to get not only the kill, but also a little bit extra damage to buy his team even more time.
Right, he's going to jump in the hill. He's going to double up with Jimbo here, but 2 players flood the front of the base. They both fall, and Kimbo now left on his own, and he has just respawned. So NaVi had to hold for just a few seconds there, and they will be tied up at 2-2. But now Quadrant inside of this hill will make it 3-1, and are 1 hill away from closing things out.
I'm not so sure about double stacking the hill there. That's really risky because your most common angles in a desperate scenario from the side of Quadrant will be dropping from batteries to bottom middle, as well as from gold. They're going to be nading the hell out of the repulsor tunnel, and by double stacking the hill, they really expose themselves to that damage.
I mean, that's a really impressive play there from TwoFoxy, by the way. Spotted the camo player, managed to dance around that pole, and unfortunately for TchiK, he didn't have enough money in the back pockets to stop the dancing happening. TwoFoxy waits for that help to come in. They take down the camo player, and NaVi now in control of the needles.
Looking at the kills on the board, NURIX 18-11. We talked about that we needed to see big things from him in this game. Here he is actually on your screen. But Kimbo shuts him down. 2 dead for each side.
2 dead for each side, but where is that hill time? It seems like there's a player inside of that hill, and he's a member of Quadrant. Respawn's now coming in as well on the elevator side, and Kimbo's doing everything he can to stay alive, to keep the pressure on Quadrant. Where is the rest of NaVi, though? Quadrant with another super strong hold here as Shad challenges and wins against zMightys.
Those are the battles you need to push. You need to clear out pipes if you're going to be holding Whirlpool. You can't just wait for your teammates to maybe pop up. You need to be the aggressor, and it is continuing to pay off from Quadrant. They are halfway done on what could be the game-deciding hill.
zMightys last alive once more, and they are just outplaying, quite simply, NaVi here. Quadrant, it has looked exemplary on their holds. NaVi have no answer for the breaks. How many times have we seen the first kill going into the hands of Quadrant? NaVi having a fight without numbers. Quadrant have the advantages, and they're about to close out game number 3 as well. TchiK inside of the hill, and he can raise his hands because now Quadrant are 1 game away from going to the grand finals.
And a 4-1 win for them on that game type. And as we said, even though we're seeing a lot of the same maps here in the first 3 sets, we knew that Quadrant would bring a different level of gameplay to your elimination final. They have done just that, and they now lead in the series, 1 game away from taking it.
Well, I think that NaVi will be happy they don't have to see Recharge again for quite some time, because they haven't had a nice time on that map for the last 2 times that they've played it. But we now move into game 4, and Quadrant just looks so strong towards the end game. The last 2/3 of that game was just completely dominated by the French roster. NaVi once again now have to answer back, and how many times can you go to the well before you find yourself out the tournament?
That is the question. It's a 10.3 KDA for NURIX. He ends the game 20-12 with 7 assists, and I think that sums up the story. Great numbers across the board from Quadrant.
Now the players will have a few moments just to chat through how they're going to approach this next game. But NaVi, they know what they got to do. It's as simple as that. Win this game, send it game 5. Otherwise, that will be the end of the tournament after such an impressive performance a little bit earlier today. And the back end of yesterday as well. It seems like maybe NaVi's starting to run out of steam, but They need to find something to stoke those fires again, because they want to go through and they want to call themselves champions of this tournament. Not only have they got to go back-to-back now with games, but they've got another 2 potential series that they have to go through as well.
That's right, and you got to think also that double kill remote detonation that came in from TchiK from bottom elevator when they had already lost control on the side of NaVi. That is just so hard to bounce back from. As we said, that's already a hard hill to break, but when you get remote detonated in pipes, it's a little tougher.
It certainly is. This is a replay as well. It was a great start for Kimbo, though. Decent shots coming in from him, and NaVi kind of dominated at the start of this game, and it was down to zMightys and the plays that he was making with that shock rifle. But Quadrant, even with NaVi so close to converting that first hill, would just never die. They kept flying in, they kept competing with that bottom mid hill, and they made NaVi fight tooth and nail, for every single scrap that they got.
And hand over fist. I agree with you. I mean, so tough, and I think maybe we should have seen the writing on the wall with how difficult it was for NaVi to close out the first hill when they had 99% that entire time, and they let Quadrant continue to apply the pressure and almost go uncontested for the duration of the whole bottom middle hill. In the end, 4-1 in favor of Quadrant. 4-1
is the answer, and now you can see Quadrant, the energy is there, the belief is there, and Aquarius is where we go. Capture the flag, Aquarius. Between these two teams is going to be a barnstormer of a game. Now, Aquarius, it just seems like, if you're looking at both of these teams, I would never call it a strong game type for them, which makes it more fun to watch for us, because when two teams don't have the greatest of records on certain game types, it means that usually it's going to that last flag, to final flags, to overtime maybe. And I'll tell you what, I'm here for it.
Yeah, that's what we hope to see here. It's been a highly contested series between these two teams in our elimination final, and that's what you expect to see. Interestingly, CTF Aquarius was also game number 4 earlier today between these two teams, but because NaVi 3-0'd, we didn't even get to see it, so this will be their first time playing it today.
So strange how this has happened, by the way.
Yeah.
It's just, I know we've got a lot of game types, we haven't got many maps, so it's not surprised to see some maps being repeated, but it's funny how a little bit of deja vu and history can repeat itself. But the thing that might change here, speaking of history, is the final result between these two squads. Quadrant 1 game away now from going through to the grand final against Ascend. Aquarius capture the flag is going to be the arena. Sign off with NaVi and zMightys. Can we see another game 5?
Trades bottom middle there, and as we said, the story for Quadrant was that they were expected to be in this grand final. If we look at the year since the release of Halo Infinite, it has been all about Ascend and Quadrant as your number 1 and 2 in the region. NaVi looking to change that, right? A little bit of early performances that weren't so strong, but now they're back here in the elimination final. Can they change their entire story of the year, or will they fall here in game number 4?
Well, you've already got a flag moving. It's in the hands of Shad. He's also got the camouflage. SLG is also clearing the way with a vital kill onto zMightys. The camo will dissipate. They haven't quite got the numbers maybe to force this, but the overextension is a little bit late here from NaVi, and that will be Quadrant up by 1 inside 60 seconds.
TchiK also hold the door so well. Eventually he'll die, but he did everything he needed to do on the pink side doorway to make sure that that flag came home very comfortably for Quadrant.
This is where you need a leader on your team. You go down within 60 seconds after the last performance, and you need someone to say, boys, it's time to go. It's time to step up. Otherwise, the tournament is over. Quadrant want to take advantage of that. They want to really put the boot in on NaVi now, with SLG challenging aggressively. You can see that TchiK might have an opportunity to run the second flag.
Scrunch of the eyebrows there from SLG, thinking he should have maybe gotten that kill on the straight stairs. TchiK says not to worry. I'll keep running this flag. Actually just dodges all of those grenades. He gets it all the way back to Jen.
Has to be careful though, because he saw the spawn from SLG in front of him. That means that he knows NaVi have probably got the control of his base or have overextended into the fridge side. So he slows things down for just a second. 3 players now fall. The flag is going to be thrown out by a NaVi member, but SLG just will not die in this situation and delays that flag being run.
Tries to stay alive as long as he can. He should be taken down, but because he is SLG, he stays alive on top. Car finally taken down, but my God, did it take him a while.
Yeah, the time bought means that that flag is going to be more difficult to capture here for NaVi. 2v2 on the map. Jimbo trying to go top middle for the camo. NURIX is going to be jumping up on the car jump, and zMightys gets the nade just to slow things down. And that flag is now sent home. So a missed opportunity there for NaVi, and it was just because they couldn't kill SLG quick enough.
Once again, SLG staying alive just bought so much time for the squad. Somehow the return comes in Jim's camo is going to also be taken down, but he will now get the flag through the gen. Thankfully, this will give them still an opportunity to run here. There's still 2 dead.
Looks like Kimbo knows there's a couple of players pushing top middle. Jimbo has so much responsibility here for NaVi. He finds one, he turns 2, and the flag is being moved. He's got the thrust to deal with NURIX as well, but NURIX not in position really to cause too many problems. Somehow TchiK is still alive. He is causing problems, but not enough. It looks like NaVi should be in a position to maybe run this flag home.
Taking a look at who's back at the base, not just yet. They're down there on the straight bridge. NURIX is watching the return. Should be a grab and an immediate cap here for Jim.
Jimbo's got to be careful here, but Shad flies in, and now zMightys, he's going to play behind him, and NaVi make a complete mess of it.
Complete miscommunication in the back of the base from NaVi. They had numbers, they had everything they needed, and it has fallen apart. They're 3 dead.
That might be it. That might be NaVi falling apart, because not only is the flag going home, they could be down by 2. There were so many simple pieces to put together here, and they just weren't able to do it. Somehow, they've got a touch on the flag, so we've got a standoff, but, I mean, they've got away with one there.
zMightys behind enemy lines. Can he get maybe a double at least? Could have even been a 3rd one. zMightys is right now doing the Lord's work. Should be a return right here. Somehow,
I mean,
NaVi gets away with murder, and they will tie the game 1-1. They find the composure in the end to bring that flag home. zMightys going huge behind enemy lines with big damage and a big double kill with the heat wave.
it should not have had to be that hard. It is as simple as that. NaVi saw the test. There was multiple choice, and they decided to go with full answers. And now off the back of that, 2 players have fallen for NaVi. Quadrant running another flag. Even though they didn't win the flag standoff, they're going to go back into the lead here because they have the numbers, they have the advantages, and NURIX has a clean run home. He's going to put... No! Wait a minute, his teammate's going to put this one in. TchiK cleans up the mess, and you can start to feel the pressure in this game on both sides.
Shad there making sure he is back home for the flag. That is rule number 1 as CTS. You go back with your carrier, at least sending 1 player back, and it pays off. But look at this counter already from zMightys. He's already back in his gen. It's a great run, but they need a kill or 2.
It's back and forth. TchiK is going to pick up 1, Shad another. So zMightys knows he cannot run that one in. Slowly kind of tiptoes his way towards top car, trying to bait where this flag is going to be spied out here by SLG. TchiK is going to be there as well, and now the return should go home, and it will go home for Quadrant.
Big return there. When you have SLG in the back of your base, it's so tough to deal with. And now the flag run is going to start in the gen once again.
Pressure from top middle as well onto TwoFoxy. Needs to stay alive in this situation, needs to give his teammates a chance to get back into the game, but SLG doubles back again. And now with 2 players again in the death screen, Quadrant run this one bomb car once more.
But because SLG doubled back, he did not continue the run. So the run is a little bit slower, but that's a big kill there.
That's a big kill. The flag will go back home here from Shad. And TchiK is going to bring a gift home for the rest of his teammates as well. It's 3-1 now to Quadrant. They've got 1 foot in that grand finals.
We talked about SLG, who's been a little bit quiet this tournament compared to his normal performances. How about this? Game 4, he's 15-5.
Wow, huge statistics coming in from SLG. And just when you need a player to catch fire in the latter ends of the tournament, that's exactly what SLG is doing. TchiK, though, I mean, this man, at certain points during this tournament, has dragged Quadrant into this position. Now his teammates are stepping up alongside him, and Quadrant are looking like a different beast. A frenzy!
My God, talk about everything going down at once. TchiK has the camo, a killing frenzy. They've got the flag running as well. Coming back home. This is very soon going to be 4-1.
NURIX is running a killing, I should say, the way for SLG. Quadrant, no. I think the fans know. I think everybody at home knows it's going to take something special from NaVi. And at this point, it looks like they might have just run out of gas. There's another couple of kills. Take SLG to 18.
It's even just a little bit of a padding of the stats here. Maybe a victory lap for SLG and the French side. Now running what could be the game-ending and the series-ending flag.
It's a good time to be a fan of Halo if you live in France. Ascend in the grand finals. Quadrant looking to be there with them. The flag is moving home. Kimbo has to go huge. And maybe there is life here for NaVi.
At the doorstep, Kimbo gets in the back of the base. He gets the kills first, then he gets the toss, then he gets the return. This is not over yet. 5 minutes left on the clock. NURIX great shots in the back of the base, and the fans love it too.
They do indeed. The Quadrant fans starting to find the volume knob a little bit here and turning things up. As TwoFoxy manages to take down SLG, but this needs to be a much improved last 4 minutes and 30 seconds from NaVi. They've been outplayed, they've been outclassed up until this point.
2 dead again for them, 3 dead again. Kimbo 4 dead. Before I can finish talking about how many players have been eliminated, Quadrant wipes the full squad.
Well, SLG, he's 19 and 7. 19 and 7. TchiK, 20 and 12. And at this point, when you're winning fights like that, you just want to take everyone you can see.
SLG just got to be so stoked on how he and the entire squad have played this game so far. Job is not done yet, though. Here will be the pull with 2 dead. Shad going to take a lot of damage on the pink pull, though.
As does Rusto to get around that corner. And now NaVi have some decisions to make. A lot of the time when we've seen that flag thrown out the front of the base, NaVi haven't made the decisions quick enough on how they want to play. And again, SLG gets that first kill. Shad gets another one. And now you're going to see Shad have the opportunity to flank these final 2 players from NaVi as the flag will be running.
Oh no, Shad.
Kimbo's last alive here. He gets taken down. The flag is past halfway on pink.
This should be the final one. Shad just going for a full loop-de-loop on the flank. Like you said, gets behind him. This will be it.
TchiK has 22 kills, but most importantly, he puts his team in the grand finals. Revenge is sweet here for Quadrant.
Look at this. The Quadrant side so pumped as they'll make their way over for the handshakes. They'll take the elimination final with a final score of 3-1 and big, big games there in games 3 and 4.
And didn't that mean a lot to them? You can see it from the reactions. A wonderful, wonderful revenge story here for the French squad. And I mentioned it earlier, NaVi, we don't mind if you beat us 3-0 on the upper bracket, because when it matters, we'll make you pay.
Heartbreaking for NaVi. If you didn't catch that earlier, this team 3-0'd. Quadrant made quick work of them, and as we expected and suspected, might have been a very different elimination final. That's exactly the case. Quadrant will earn their trip to the grand finals. They will end the NaVi storyline with this new roster, and they will now compete for the top spot in Europe's biggest ever event.
Look at those stats. I mean, TchiK, SLG, take your pick to be honest with you, but TchiK, the killing frenzy in a game of that magnitude. A few mistakes from NaVi, and there was no opportunities missed by Quadrant to take advantage of them. 22 and 13 for TchiK with 14 assists, and SLG 31. 22 and 8 for him, a monster performance.
Unbelievable. Stepped up when he needed to. Also over 5,000 damage in that game as well. And tell you what, it's one thing to see SLG putting up numbers like that. Let's not forget he also did it while jumping on returns, right? Throwing himself into really dangerous and challenging situations and just came up time and time again. I think we got to say congrats to NaVi on the run that they have had here because it's been an incredible performance and they have changed the trajectory of their season. However, their story here at the EU Finals will end right here in the elimination final.
I will do indeed. So NaVi fall out the bracket and we have our grand finals set now. It's an all-French encounter as many predicted coming into the tournament here in Valencia. It's going to be Ascend taking on Quadrant. It's going to be a banger, but for now, that's going to do it for us. Andy, it's a pleasure as always, my friend. Back to the desk, Lottie, take it away.